Hey, everybody. It's 8 p.m. here in Estonia. I think today's the 19th of January, hopefully. I'm still Kevin Murcko. I'm still CEO at a company called Coinmetro. See it up there. You're watching the Coinmetro Business AMA. We added the word business now. This way you don't ask me about other stuff, but you can ask me about anything you want. I might not answer it, but most of the time I do. So let's get down to business. I think that's a song, actually. Hold on, getting a little, what is this? LinkedIn. Okay, so LinkedIn doesn't like us. Well, LinkedIn doesn't have to like us. Here we go. So jumping into the first question, there's already a ton on the board. So here we go. Would Ignium potentially be an interesting target for an acquisition at Coinmetro? Maybe the licenses Ignium holds could allow Coinmetro to offer new services. So I've actually been talking to Remo, who's CEO of Ignium, not only as a co-founder of Ignium, but also as the CEO and founder of Coinmetro, trying to come to some type of arrangement. In fact, we have a call later today to hopefully get to some type of arrangement so that Ignium isn't forced into basically liquidation. So we will see what happens. As far as licenses go, Ignium doesn't hold any licenses. They hold an exemption, though, from the FSA here in Estonia that allows them to do that billboard peer-to-peer market, which is interesting, to be honest. And it would be interesting to Coinmetro. I want to do everything I can to try and make this work. As Coinmetro is raising money as well, I'm not in a position to just offer a cash offer. And I think there are some shareholders on the Ignium side that don't necessarily want to share swap. So we need to try and figure out how this could work. One, without putting some type of crazy amount of time into the, saying, oh, it'll take a year for these shareholders to get some funds back. And at the same time, I don't want to put extraneous obligations on Coinmetro side because, well, we're raising money as well. So it's definitely something that's being talked about. It's been talked about for a few weeks now, actually. Hey, Kev, any update on the XCM liquidity situation? Liquidity provider was mentioned as a potential. Any update on that? Yeah. So right now, yes, liquidity provider are still waiting in the wings. Also a market maker, let's call him an internal market maker, basically a trader that was a client of FX Big, who at the time was at the time was a full-time pilot, part-time trader, now is a full-time trader, no-time pilot. Well, I guess he probably still pilots. Do you say that? Pilots? Can you also boat? If I said, what are you doing? Like, what were you doing yesterday night? Like, boat. Can you boat? Does it have to, boating? But can it be boat? I don't know. I thought about that a few times. I don't know why. Anyway, so he probably still pilots. Point is that having those two things waiting in the wings, it is still the way it looks. They are waiting in the wings. Reason being is that we have to put capital behind this. And I've seen a few people on Telegram say, why doesn't Coinmetro just go in and buy the floor? Yeah, well, obviously we're holding capital for operations as we go through yet another funding round. And so we don't want to overextend ourselves by making XCM's book nice, but then not being able to do a lot of the things we need to do on the operations side, because we need both, right? Both of those things kind of interact with one another. If we can't do well in operations, then having a great XCM book doesn't really make any difference, and vice versa. So capital coming in, more capital coming in, allowing us to put 1 to 2 million euros behind XCM, not just necessarily going in and buying out the floor, but market making on the floor, starting to get the book reactive, and also different things like tier updates, et cetera. So all those things are there. All those things are still in the cards. It's just we want the capital to roll in. So working on it. Any news on the new marketing initiatives? Also, how are user signups? User signups looking actually pretty good. I think we've had about 6,000 or 7,000 new signups this month, which for this year is actually fantastic because that's an average of about 300 signups a day since the beginning of the year. However, it's gone up to now 500 to 600 signups a day in the most recent past. We haven't seen signups like that for quite some time. Basically, I'm not going to say Q4 2021, but damn near close to that. And so marketing initiatives are actually going very well. Signups are coming in. We are noticing some little pieces. We are noticing some data pointing to the fact that conversions for some of those clients isn't the best. And now we're working internally to make sure those conversions are better. But it's looking much better than it was. So marketing initiatives are paying off. Any idea when Tram V2 is coming? I feel this could really help generate volume. Yeah, when looking at the data, everybody likes to speculate on where we make our money. Now, definitely when that Herald Tram was going on, there was a lot of volume going through it. We made money on Tram, no doubt about it. However, take that out of the equation. A lot of times when you want to look at any type of data, right, you don't necessarily want to take the average, take the mean, right? Get rid of the biggest, get rid of the smallest, focus on what most customers are actually doing, where most of your data is coming from. And overall, we make the most money on swap. Simple as that. That's where we make our money. So TRAM obviously pushes volume into margin. And while we absolutely want to make sure we bring margin back onto the table and start making more revenue from, and TRAM will be a big part of that, we know right now where we make our money is on swap. Now, having said that, TRAM V2, I believe, is now in the books, I believe, for Q2. Though I think there might be some work on it towards the end of Q1. You know, TRAM has been pushed and pushed and pushed many, many times. And that's because, well, even when we've had the highest amount of resources we've ever had, we've still had not enough resources. And so we still had to juggle things around and figure. And again, as we get more and more data, the data points to the fact of where we make our money. This is where we want to focus some of our attention. Doesn't mean we do not want to do some things. It just means we have to pick and choose our battles. But it's coming. What do you think marketing has been struggling to get off the ground, finding the right people? Well, historically, yeah, right people was definitely a thing. At some point, it was also resource, meaning money. At other points, it was sentiment, yeah. Right now, marketing, I think, is doing a fantastic job. We have a lot of the right people. We've just slimmed down the team. We did some performance reviews across the whole company. We let some people go because of that. And we also did some cost optimization to make sure that we're not overspending and that, you know, on the services that we're providing. And so with that, I think now we have a pretty concentrated and amazing marketing team, not to mention other teams within the business. And because of that as well, I don't think it's about necessarily finding the right people. We still need more people. So it's going to be about finding the right people. It always will be. But they really haven't been struggling as of late. You might not see it or feel it because of just the general market sentiment and the fact that, well, market sentiment's a bit better over the last few days, obviously, than it's been over the past few months. But still, you might not necessarily feel it, but I can see it. And I can see the numbers, and the numbers are picking up, and they're going in the right direction. Will the XCM sell limit be lowered from the current 5K? Perhaps do something like 500 XCM. At the current rate, only one person per week is able to sell. Yeah, look, I understand that the whole goal of putting it to 5,000 was simply mostly optics on the amount of XCM that is sitting at that 60 cent mark. And also, once we turn on market making, once we turn on et cetera, it's going to burn through that wall. That's the point. That was the point, still is the point, and I think we accomplished that. When we do get capital in, when we do apply the liquidity, and when we do apply market making, I don't think it's going to make too much of a difference. Yes, right now volumes are low. We know that. And it's something that we're cognizant of, and it's something that we want to solve. And we are doing things to solve it. One of those things is bringing on more clients. But, you know, these things, unfortunately, you know, I'm kind of tired and upset at myself for pinpointing dates that, well, simply didn't happen. So I don't want to mention dates anymore about the XCM book. What I can say is it's important to me. It's important to the company, and we will solve it. It's just taking more time than we expected. But I don't think continuing to lower necessarily makes more volume come in. Yes, you're right. Maybe then 10 people can sell instead of one. But, you know, I don't want to continue to do the same. You know, you do one thing that doesn't necessarily work entirely as you would have liked, and then you just do it again and again and again and again. And I'm not sure that's the best way around it, though. I'm definitely willing to listen to people. And if we have enough people saying that they think that is a good idea, well. Afternoon, Kevin, could you please have a visual representation on our XCM limit orders showing how much XCM needs to be filled before our order? Yeah, look, we could definitely do this. I think, though, that effort is probably better pushed in to make sure you don't need this. Right? I mean, I think that's where the effort should be, to be honest. I mean, doing this would give you, yes, some tool that you can use now, but my hope and my goal is that that tool would never need to be used again. With the Coinmetro bonds reaching maturity soon, what option would you personally go for, equity or XCM? Are you considering to do another bond offering? So, you know, right now, honestly, they're both paper gains, because whether you go into XCM or whether you go into equity, there isn't a vast amount of liquidity for either. So you're, one, speculating on the future potential value of those, of whatever you choose. And then two, you know that there's just not a lot of liquidity at this point. When it comes to equity, there's also not a lot of people trying to sell equity. So personally, I would probably, if choosing binary one or the other, go with equity. And simple as that, the equity was bought in at 50 million. It was 180 million in the last round. We're going to print between 200 and 250 million this next round. And then the next goal after that is $500 million. Goal after that's going to be over $1 billion. As long as the company continues to do well, even if XCM doesn't necessarily follow suit. We've always talked about it's not necessarily correlative. A company doing well doesn't mean XCM will do well. XCM doing well doesn't mean the company's doing well. I tend to think that there is a bit of correlation because people simply assume as much, but it doesn't mean there is. But if the company's doing well and the company continues to grow, the valuation will absolutely grow. And whether we're able to figure out this deal with Ignium or not, at some point we will have the ability for you to be able to trade equity on Coinmetro. And when you're able to do that, it'll open up some possibilities to be able to sell that equity. And also, obviously, you can sell it offline as well. There's no limitation on that. So yeah, I would personally go with equity. That would be my choice. Is your ambition for Coinmetro to become a top 10 exchange? Oh, sorry, I think there was a secondary question here. Another bond offering. There's a potential we could do another bond offering. I'm not saying we will. I'm not saying we won't. We do need to raise money. I think this time we're looking to raise about 25 million. And so, obviously I can't do a bond offering for 25 million, nor would I even want to be honest. But there is a potential that a bond that debt might be some option in the future. What I'd really like to see as we grow out our ecosystem is the ability for clients to buy and or receive equity for things that they do on the platform. So the more you interact with the platform, the more you become, the bigger shareholder you become. I think that's where we're headed. I'm not saying that's a 2023 thing, but in the long run, that's what I'd like to see. Is your ambition for Coinmetro to become a top 10 exchange? If not, what would be the ambition for Coinmetro? Well, my ambition for Coinmetro is that we're considered one of the most, if not the most trustworthy. I don't like to use the word exchange. That's the vernacular we use now. So one, if not the most trusted exchange out there. I want to be the place people know that, yep, we might not have every asset listed. Yeah, we might not offer 7 million bajillion % APR or something on passive income programs, but we're open, we're honest. We always try to do things the right way. We have an amazing customer experience. And people just want to do business with us because their friends, family, etc. do business with us and always have good things to say. Whether that makes us top 10, I don't know. Being top 10 doesn't really excite me. What really excites me, to be honest, man, getting out of bed every day, is that the people that I know Coinmetro has helped to make their own lives better. That's what gets me out of that's what gets me out of bed. It's a business. It needs to make money. No one starts a business not trying to make money. We all need money. We all need varying degrees of money to, live our lives. But that fills a hole, I guess, to a certain extent when you're an ambitious entrepreneur. Making money, being successful is nice. But at some point, what else is there? I mean, you can continue to try to be more successful. You can continue to try to do, I don't know, buy more boats and cars and houses. I don't know, whatever, right? Whatever your thing is. But that seems empty to me. And what I really want to do is, just be able to know that Coinmetro played its part in helping other people reach their goals. I think that's amazing. And it's the reason I get out of bed in the morning. And it's the reason I'll continue to get out of bed in the morning, regardless of, the turmoil, ups and downs, or friction that may exist in the business. When is the first shareholder meeting for Class B shareholder in 2023? Probably will be towards the end of March. So yeah, I think before the end of March, before the end of Q1. You mentioned that the next funding round will be valued at 200 million. How easy, difficult is it to convince investors the valuation compared to the last round, 180, within the current market? Valuations are never easy. Doesn't matter what your valuation is. Think of this as you're always going to negotiate. And so you go to the table with whatever number you're going to negotiate. And if you go in with a number that's too small, you may lose some investors, because if you don't value what you've done, why should they? If you go in too high, they may think that you're just irrational, that you have no idea what the true value of your business is. And so there is a bit of a line you need to walk, but it is a game at the end of the day. And I think a 20 million change, given the additional fundamentals we've built into the platform, given the team that we now have that we didn't have, whether it comes to design or whether it comes to product or marketing, etc., compliance, I think it's a small price to pay. In fact, if it wasn't for current market sentiment, that valuation would already be much higher. And I think it's well worth it. I think the IP we own is probably half of that valuation, if not more. The company owns some XCM, and yes, we all know the situation with XCM, but XCM is valuable. In the long run, it gives a lot of value back to the company. And so there's a lot of things there that I think already, I think 200 million is a discount, to be quite honest. But you hit the nail on the head. It's market sentiment. It's market sentiment. Hey, Kevin, is there any hope for DNA staking on CM now that David Copesel isn't involved with the project more? Well, it had nothing to do with David to be involved or not. In fact, I like David, and it didn't have anything to do with that. I think what it has to do with is just we need to pick our battles, and we don't really see a lot of volume on DNA. We don't have a lot of DNA on our client accounts, and so offering staking for DNA is a unknown for us. Whereas some other assets, even if we may see similar, not much volume and not many client deposits in general, we know that those assets have a much larger following, and thus we have the ability to potentially gain new business. So it's really a business decision. It's got nothing to do with David. It's not because I don't like, DNA or EncryptGen. It's just limited resource and having to make business decisions. Hi, Kevin. Hope 2023 is treating you well so far. Thank you. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on the current and future state of the market, given the prevailing negative sentiment. Yeah, look, depending on when you came into crypto, like yesterday, last week, last year, or 2 years ago, sentiment is always kind of shit every X amount of time. It's either really good or really bad. It's, crypto is kind of like, it's bipolar, it's either super, super happy. It's like manic, super, super happy, or super, super pissed off and sad and depressed. And so, I think crypto, looking now back at the last months, has held up quite well, comparatively speaking, to maybe the broader economy in terms of its ability to maintain price, even because don't forget that crypto has been aligned or correlated for quite some time now with equities. Equities have not done that great as of late. It's also has some intrinsic ties back even to the price of gold and commodities, etc. But, when you think about all the macro that's happened in traditional, add on top of that, though, that crypto has seen its Lehman Brothers, it's seen its real estate, crisis. It's seen all kinds of crises in a very short amount of time. And it's still been able, obviously there's some altcoins that went down 95%. But when it comes to majors, they've been able to hold their own. Yes, Bitcoin is priced lower than whatever, right? But at the same time, it's not 3K. And it very well could have been 3K. And we're not out of the woods yet. We may still see lower prices, but in the long run, I think crypto is here to stay. I think it's going to see a lot of changes over the coming years. I don't think that's because of what's happening now. That always was going to happen. But I do think it's here to stay. I think we still haven't seen a major push of institutional money, and that's one reason why we still see major volatility. Now, we probably won't see institutional money coming into most altcoins, so we're not going to lose volatility there. But when it comes to Bitcoin, Ethereum, and some of the other majors, we're definitely going to see a loss of volatility over the coming years. And when we see that, you're going to see less retail money flowing into those assets, which means more retail money will probably flow into altcoins because that's where the volatility will be. Then the question is about regulation and what regulation will do to those altcoins. Will it become something like a pink sheet where retail isn't allowed to buy or sell utility tokens, for example? There's a lot of things that could happen. I'm bullish on the industry, and that hasn't changed. If I wasn't bullish on the industry, I wouldn't be able to get out of bed every day and come here and say I was. So I'm still bullish on the industry. I think we still have a long ways to go. But in terms of the market, every time there's a downswing, when there's an upswing, people always say, oh, I wish I would have bought sooner. I would have so bought at these prices. Then those prices appear and they get scared and they don't buy. And that's why most people don't succeed, right? That's why DCA is so important. If there's an asset you love at 60, you should absolutely adore it at 20. And you should be DCAing, dollar cost averaging into that asset, regardless of price, for as much as you can. That doesn't affect your life on a daily basis. And that is the key, I think. So in that sense, market sentiment doesn't matter. It's just about your own time scale. When are you looking to potentially exit? Is it a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, etc.? And it's about willpower and sitting on those hands and not making changes to your game plan. Hi, Kevin. Interested to know what schedule frequency dividends would be paid on equity conversion from bonds, and what approximate rate or calculation would be based on besides just overall valuation. Well, dividends have nothing to do with valuation. So dividends have to do with profits. So obviously right now, Coinmetro is not a profitable business. It is burning money, not earning. Well, we earn money, but we burn more than we earn. So dividends will start to happen when the company is profitable. Now, if I had a crystal ball, which I don't, but if I had one and I happen to be looking at it, which I'm not, my assumption for first some type of dividend probably be 2025. Why? Well, 2023, I think, is going to be about fundamentals, traction, and 2024 is going to be about exponential growth. And 2025 will be about being in a position where we can now, we're not raising funds, we're cash flow positive, and we're figuring out what we want to do with that cash, right? Dividends, acquisitions, etc. So 2025 seems to me, and then after that, I think we would probably see in the beginning something like either semi-annual or annual dividends, and then potentially down the road quarterly. It really depends on cash flow, to be honest. But you make a point. Sorry, just to go back here. You make a good point, in that the rise in the valuation is another way that equity creates value for you, obviously on exit. Just to point that out. The Coinmetro blog announcement mentioned DeFi as a new service. Can you give us some details about that? Well, no, what it said was decentralized, DeFi, decentralized finance. Okay, but some form of decentralized services. So no, as it said there, it's coming soon. I'm not going to mention anything about it. Just understand that you've probably heard me talk about hybrid exchanges a billion times. And I do think the future of this industry is hybrid. Some things are great decentralized, some things aren't. Some people like certain, let's say the majority of people will use certain things that are decentralized, and some will not. And so the path here is to figure out how we can reach that goal I talked about, being the most trustworthy exchange, using decentralized services. But how can we also make sure that our great user experience doesn't get hurt by using decentralized services? So that's part of it. Appreciate that, man. We love all you guys as well. Shout out to the amazing new community manager. Thanks, Steve Philippe. Yep, shout out to Will. Doing a great job. Instead of my weekly CM critique, I'm just going to say the new pitch deck and newsletter style is looking pretty nice. Also a fan of the new AMA approach. Also, good luck to Will. Well, thank you. By the way, you can always critique, man. I love critique. So critique away, but I appreciate the kind words. How many XCM is currently being cleared off the book each week? You can see that just as well as I can. Hard to say, but I would say it's probably somewhere around 4,000 to 5,000 euro, something like that. Which, yeah, you do the math, right? I mean, something like 6,000 XCM, something like that, 6,000 to 7,000. How was St. Moritz? An interesting new business opportunities from the event there. It was actually probably, if not the best, one of the best conferences I've ever been to in my life. And that goes across different industries, not just crypto. Very well put together. St. Moritz was a bit difficult to get to. It's a 3-hour car ride from Zurich, or a 3.5, 4-hour train ride with like 3 different changes. Picturesque, really nice, really cool place. Interesting because you expect it to be kind of dead, but there's definitely a good gastronomy scene. There absolutely is a little bit of nightlife, etc. Really high caliber people. Happen to be in a bar with Arthur Hayes, CZ, guy from Shapeshift, whose name I can't recall off the top of my head right now, and many other people from different parts around the industry. So it attracts let's say a high caliber crowd. While I didn't visit most of the talks, I had lots of interesting conversations with people that were at the event. There definitely is some potential biz dev, fundraising, all kinds of different potential opportunities. These things don't happen in a day or two, so we'll have to see how that pans out. But it's an event that I would absolutely like to attend again. Very well run, interesting, and they kept us entertained, let's say, throughout the, they kept our eyes on the prize. Even the dinners, even the kind of lunches were done in a way that kept us talking, which I think is amazing. Yep, don't forget the like button. Appreciate that. Thank you. The likes, the confettis, the smiley faces, whatever you got going on over there. Any thoughts on the new FTX CEO apparently looking to rebooting the exchange? Well, I mean, yeah, they did file. I think they filed Chapter 11, right, which is restructuring. Was it Chapter 11? I don't even remember. But if it was, then it's restructuring. So the goal would always be to reopen. Does that mean they are going to reopen? No. Does it mean anybody would even use it? No. Maybe he's just kind of going through the process, right? I mean, kind of like saying these things because he has to, not because he actually feels that it's going to help the case of the end user. Hi, Kevin. Is swapping crypto from KDA to Quant on Coinmetro a taxable event? Just need to be clear. I can't give you tax advice. Plus, I have no idea where you're based. So even if I had tax advice for specific countries, I have no idea what your country is. So I would say, you should always get tax advice from a local tax professional, period. If you live in a jurisdiction where you've heard that going from crypto to crypto is taxable, well, then it's taxable, right? I mean, that's what you need to find out. Is crypto to crypto taxable, or is it just crypto to fiat, or is it crypto to stable, et cetera, et cetera. So it depends where you live. But you might be able to Google that, to be honest. Why not create an index fund investment type for crypto? Something like Vanguard, Coinmetro could create a crypto global index fund. Would be something viable. It's not that it's not viable, and it's not that it potentially not a bad idea. What it is, though, is it probably requires licensing we don't have. And there have been similar tradable products in Sweden. I believe it's Sweden for years. They actually were discontinued just recently, but they were there for years, since 2015 or 16, something, 17 maybe, I don't know. And didn't get any traction. So, it's one of those things where people ask for something, and then they get it. Nobody cares. Kevin, why can't we fiat swap using the widget on the website? Is it a legal issue? Seems like you could make money on that rather than force people to swap assets to obtain the same result. Yeah, it's a regulatory issue. So we are not we don't have licenses that allow us to do deliverable FX, which is what you'd be doing there. Basically, you're taking one fiat to another fiat and then wanting it to be deliverable, meaning you can withdraw it, and that requires licensing we don't have. So that's exactly why, actually. But considering, the cost now on the swap widget, obviously the cost can be higher, though you do get that assurance of that 30-second freeze. But if you go on the exchange and do 2 transactions, the cost is way less than you would pay any FX provider to go between 2 currencies, 2 fiat currencies, way less. Talking about 0.2 basis points versus usually what you'll pay is 0.75 up and higher, depending on how much you're exchanging. Hi, Kevin. Any reason why Flare and Songbird airdrops haven't been issued? Coinmetro haven't followed up or communicated the issuance of the snapshot. We definitely communicated that we would support it. That's for sure, and we are. We did receive some Flare. I think we're trying to figure out how to distribute it. Songbird, to be honest, that one, I don't know. I'd have to take a look at that one. But I just saw some internal messages just maybe days ago talking about Flare, trying to figure out how to distribute. Any news on the debit card and IBANs? Even Plutus seems to be doing well just with debit cards and perks on those. With different perks for those different staking levels, we could get a lot more XCM lock. Hey, Kim. Yep. So that is a project that's going into 2023, Q1, Q2. I haven't gotten debriefed on where they are right now, but I definitely had a few meetings about it towards the end of last year. And so it's on the cards. And yes, it's on the cards. The cards are on the cards. It's definitely taken longer than we would imagine initially. A lot of that had to do with supplier and changes and bank relationships and blah, 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 blah. There was a lot of stuff along the way that we couldn't really control. but it's definitely, we are still doing it, and it will be coming. You know, it still amazes me though that it's something that a lot of people want, to be honest, in a digital world. I get why though. I mean, I get the overarching reason why. Hey, Kevin, can you list Harmony One, please? Could we? Yes. Will we? Well, that's the other question. We have to see. I know we have a listing committee now. I'm not sure Harmony One is on it. If anybody on the listing committee is listening to this, ping me on Slack. Let me know if Harmony One is in the running. Our XRP books, are they hindered by the high fees to withdraw compared to other top 10 exchanges that charge far less for withdrawal for larger amount of XRP? I guess what you're trying to say is the XRP books are hindered because the fees to withdraw are too high. Yeah. So, you know, that's a legacy thing from BitGo. BitGo charges a percentage, and we use BitGo for XRP. So unfortunately, if we were to charge any less, we would lose money on every transaction. And, you know, I guess what you could take from that is that BitGo has never had really a hacking incident, which means it is pretty secure. And so you're paying for a bit of security rather than those XRP potentially sitting in a hot wallet. What do you think of Nexo Binance's collateral-based loans? Is it something the new XCM would adopt in the near future? Well, Nexo seems to be having some issues. Collateral-based loans, look, when it comes to collateral and you're giving up crypto as a collateral that's volatile, that can lead to a really big problem. In fact, it's one of the reasons why Luna no longer exists. And so I'm not sure I'm too bullish on collateral-based loans, but I do think there's probably a better way to do it. And so potentially, but it would have to be examined pretty thoroughly. Do you think Kadena is a good accumulation phase at one? I still like Kadena. So I still think, you know, Kadena has, just like every company, its issues. I wish they communicated better, for example, but I still think their tech, I still think a lot of the people inside of their organization, I think they are going to reach a level of success that may surprise people. As far as price goes, anything in this market can still go lower. But considering the all-time highs versus the average, the mean price, if you take out all-time highs and all-time lows, yeah, this range of kind of 80 cents up to $1 is probably not the worst accumulation range to get in. As an Ignium equity holder, I'm happy with a swap to Coinmetro equity. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you for that. I'm trying, man. I'm gonna try and make it work. Latest thoughts on Noah and Syntropy. Yeah, to be honest, I haven't had my ear to the ground so much recently because I've been working on a lot of stuff just internally at Coinmetro, a lot of fundraising stuff, a lot of stuff around PR. So can't really give you any insight, unfortunately, on that question as of today. Coinmetro is definitely the best exchange in crypto from transparency, customer service, and interface. Thank you, KDA Miner. It's inevitable it does well. Hoping to see bigger partnerships with KDA this year as I stack XCM and KDA. Thanks, KDA Miner. I really do appreciate that. And as far as partnerships go, we have a biz dev guy now. So he's in touch with Kadena and Flux and all our other partners. So I would expect to see some more communications between us and our partners. What do you believe is going to be Coinmetro's most difficult challenge, obstacle? Well, I think this fundraising round is important for us because we need to do a lot of stuff that we're going to need more capital to do. So that's a very important thing. Sentiment in the market is going to be important, and our ability to cater our message and our products to show that we are aware of the narrative, the trust narrative, et cetera, and that not only are we working on it now, we've been working on it since inception. I think those are going to be the challenges, but I think they also uniquely give us an advantage compared to some of our competitors. And as always, you know, growth in general is a challenge. Growth, especially in a market that has not the best sentiment. But I think we are uniquely situated right now with the team we have to be able to finally break through that ceiling. How many new signups can you process in 24 hours? It depends. We have automated and manual processing. I think in the past, with a slightly smaller team, we got hooked around 2,000 signups a day, and we started to see some delays. But that one, we had no automation then. So honestly, I think with automation, we can handle probably more, maybe 3,000, maybe 2,500, 3,000, 3,500, something in there. Is Coin Michigan flooded by signups right now? How many can you get? is Koi, Michigan. I have no idea if Koi, Michigan is sending us signups. Are you out on the street, man, with like a sandwich board promoting Coinmetro? That'd be amazing, because if you are, please send me a pic. Time to go all in. Well, I can't tell you when to go all in or if not. So going all in is not the best investment strategy, to be honest. But if you're right, you feel amazing. When you're wrong, you feel like shit. So any plans for a KDA partnership? Wondering if the bonding program will open again. Well, you know, we've had KDA partnerships. We still have partnerships because we have wrapped Kadena. I think we're still only the only centralized swapping mechanism for wrapped Kadena on Ethereum, for example. Bonding program, I haven't heard anything from them on the bonding program. I don't think it's going to reopen, though I do think they may come out with some other type of passive income. I think that's almost inevitable, because as a layer one, that's important to kind of deal with circulating supply, I think. If Coinmetro is looking to buy Ignium, wouldn't this dilute CM shareholders? Would it be a better option to swap XCM for Ignium equity? That's kind of going in the wrong way. Ignium has some debts it needs to pay. Ignium needs cash. It's not a significant amount of cash, but it is cash. And the majority stake of Ignium would like to sell, or at least recoup some of the investment capital. So there is cash required. There are shareholders that would swap into Coinmetro equity. We would give them some type of favorable valuation. So that's what we're working on. I'm working on it, been trying to work on it. There's still a few kinks in the armor, so to speak, to get that thing done, though. Amazing experience always with Coinmetro, definitely number one in our heart. Thank you very much, Mimondo TV. Thank you. I haven't been the longest a Coinmetro customer, but I felt the company has matured a ton compared to example last year. Absolutely. I think year on, year out, Coinmetro continues to surprise even me at the things that we're able to accomplish. And I know some of that stuff gets hidden and doesn't, and people might not be aware of it. But yes, absolutely. We've done some amazing stuff this past year, and I think we're going to do some more amazing stuff this year. What are Coinmetro's short-term Q1Q targets that you're looking to achieve? Great to hear signups have been increasing. You know, there's, in terms of, you know, growth is definitely there. Increase in revenues, business optimization, I guess, is a good way to describe it. Lowering cost, increasing revenues, really doing well by our performers that exist, that are good performers that exist inside of the business. Making sure that when there aren't good performers, that we try to assist them and or move them out, so that those people that are performing well continue to perform well, and know that we're behind them 100%. So lots of business optimization stuff. Also, this whole idea about trust. We want to make sure that that's front and center. So there's going to be a lot of stuff about that. I'm sure you guys have probably already heard about a new website. And it's not about just rebranding again. It's really about creating a website, not a landing page, that focuses on what Coinmetro is, what we're good at. And why people should be our client, you know, and that's also definitely something that we're targeting. That all leads back, to be honest, to growth. It's you know, growth. I would say fundamentals as well. We want to make sure that we have the best fundamental experience in crypto. That's support, that's UI UX, that's ease of access, all those things, fundamentals, KYC, onboarding, our conversion rates, all those things. We're going to be focused on a lot of fundamentals in Q1, Q2. Do you think the DoJ did what they, why do you think the DoJ did what they did yesterday, and the fact that CZ seems scared about it on Twitter? Well, it's funny that they indicted this, you know, unknown exchange that no one's ever heard of, but specifically mentioned Binance more than once. I told you a million times, every single 4 or 5 letter, whatever, 3-letter agency in the world has a Binance file, and the US definitely has them. And I think, you know, going after these small fish in order to get more information on a big fish is pretty tactical. So I think, you know, CZ probably has a reason to be a bit on edge. Not just CZ. I'm sure there's other players in the market that are a bit on edge as well, because this seems to me to be very tactical. They're going to go after somebody that will probably capitulate, give more information, try to stay out of jail, and talk about maybe some relationships he's had with other players in the business that knew exactly what they were doing and still help them move funds that were illicit. So do you think Nexo are in trouble as if their next FTX, their Nexo price has held its value with the latest rate? Yeah, again, price doesn't really mean anything. A utility token price doesn't really mean anything, the value of the business. I mean, if it has great support and a great community, it could be held up even if the company is literally worthless. There's been a lot of reports about Nexo having issues, but those could be innuendo. I don't really know. I don't have any insider information or anything about Nexo. there will be additional properties in crypto that falter because of FTX, and mostly now at this point with indirect exposure. There are still going to be companies that had direct exposure that will have problems. But, in this game, when you're working with counterparties, you never know 100% who your counterparty or their counterparty's counterparty may be counterparty to. And so we're not through with the issues. That's for sure. We're going to see more. Whether that's Nexo, I don't really know. Yeah, I think that comes down to the growth of EncryptGen and it making more business sense for us to go ahead and offer DNA staking. I think that's the honest answer to that one. All right, guys, I think I got through all the questions. I'm going to end it there. We're 40 minutes in. I know I think we had scheduled an hour, but we're going to leave it there. We're going to leave it there. I got some other stuff I got to do. Not that you guys aren't important to me. To be honest, you're far more important than many other things I do in my daily life. I really do appreciate everyone's support. I appreciate the questions. I appreciate the critiques. I appreciate people that have been here since day 1, day 2, day 3, day 5, day 10, or even if you just got here tomorrow or yesterday, sorry. I really do appreciate you. I appreciate everything. I think you guys are amazing. Thank you so much for coming here for these 40 minutes and asking your questions. I will see you here in 2 weeks. We're still fine-tuning things. I think I probably will make some more appearances with different types of video content. So if you guys want to hear something from me, please let me know. You can always ping me at Kevin Murcko. You can tweet me on Twitter at Kevin Murcko. Please do. And by the way, as you're spending time, it's not the weekend yet. It's only Thursday. But if you're going on a long weekend trip and you're going Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and you're gearing up and you're packing your suitcase, make sure you write with a black magic marker on the back of all your clothes by XCM. Try to draw a QR code in there. I mean, it shouldn't be too difficult, right? Or just print one out and stick it on the back. That would really be helpful. I really do appreciate it. And if you hear anybody talking about how they have 25 million hanging around, send them my way. Kevin Murcko on Telegram. All right, guys, have a great rest of your Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and see you here shortly, or soon, I guess, soon, trademarked. Cheers, everybody.